Okay. Good morning, everyone. How are you doing today? Good morning, online. Good morning. Okay, so hope everyone are doing good. Did you guys completed yesterday's practical? Completed, no? Hmm? How about you online? So what were the topics yesterday? We started with launching the EC2 instance using the directory structure and creating the S3 bucket using the directory structure. And then we discussed about what? Taints. We discussed about what? Taints, and then which one? After taints, what we discussed? Locals, Terraform locals. In that local also, we wrote the local block, and then we created a variables, right? And then in the next one, so yeah. So this guy, so we created the locals here, local block, and then we have launched the EC2 instance, right? So, and then remember yesterday we created prod VPC, prod subnet, prod servers. And by the way, did you try to set a VPC manually? Okay. And then instead of using prod in everywhere, so what you do here? You set up a local blocks and write one small variable env is equal to prod. And how do we call that? Locals.env. So wherever the prod is required, you can call that. So if you want to put it in the double quotes, then always go with what here? Dollar and then parenthesis local.env. Call it like that. So completed practicals, right? Online, I need response. Did you guys completed the practicals? Okay, good. So the next topic here is workspace. Say that, workspace. So do you remember in our previous classes of Terraform, uh, we use TFRs, remember? dev.tfrs, prod.tfrs, test.tfrs, right? Yeah, and you have completed the practicals on it, right? So when you use dev.tfrs, dev server got created. Yes or no? And then if you change, if you use prod.tfr, did it created a new machine or did it modified? Modified, right? Yes or no? Even though we have dev.tfrs, test.tfr, prod.tfrs, when you execute the dev.tfrs, dev server got created. And whenever you execute prod.tfr, same dev server, it has renamed with prod-server. Yes or no? Why? Why? Huh? No. Why? What is the reason it has modified? Why didn't it created a new EC2? Very good. So what is that? How many state files you have? Only one. Guys, so the state file is only one. So for that reason, whenever you use dev.tfrs, whenever you use what? Dev.tfrs, dev server got created, right? And then that information will be there in the state file or not. So whenever you now execute it, same dev.tfr, prod.tfrs files are different. But when you use prod.tfrs, it has mentioned in that prod server. So what the state file will understand, okay, dev server is already there. So they are modifying the another machine. So that meaning they're modifying the same machine, different name. So for that reason, as the state file is same, it is trying to modify the existing resource. But what if I need to have a separate environments, dev environments, prod environment, test environment? What if we need to have? For that, we need to create what? Workspace. Similarly, in Kubernetes, we have namespaces, no? Separate environment. Similarly, here also in Terraform, we have something called what? Workspace. Say that. What is that? Workspace. So, workspace is an isolated environment where a separate state file is maintained. Yes or no? It's a separate state file. Whenever you create a workspace, so a directory will get created, Terraform dot d something, Terraform, the separate directory get created. Inside that, if you create a workspace called dev, if you create a workspace called prod, if you create a workspace called test, individual directories will get created, and each and every individual directory have their own state file. Have their own what? State file. Got it now? So whenever you use workspace called dev, and you're using the configuration files, and then you will be having the state file of dev. Whenever you switch to prod, and prod have its own state file. As they have their own state file, can we create as different separate environments or not? Yes. So remember, in real time, if you want to manage different environments like development, staging, prod, or like this, then which concept you should use? Workspace. Which concept now? Clear the workspace. It's like an isolation. So each workspace have its own state file. Whatever we have done till now, we had only one state file. What's the extension of state file? Terraform dot. What is the extension of the state file? Terraform dot stata. Terraform dot tf state. Say that. Terraform dot tf state. So these are all interview questions, guys. So what is the state file of? What is the state file extension? So Terraform dot tf state. Okay. Is it clear? So by default, we have a default workspace. What workspace is that? Default workspace. So what we can do is, what is the command to list the workspace? Terraform workspace list. What's the command to create a new workspace? Terraform workspace new. Terraform workspace show. Terraform workspace select. Terraform workspace delete. So it is for listing, it is for creating, it is for showing, it is for selecting, it is for deleting it. So what we do? So let's go and create. Okay, I'll show you the code, then we'll go and write it so that it will be easier for you to tell me how to write the code. See, provider, first what we do is Terraform workspace list. Whenever you do Terraform workspace list, what is the workspace that it will give? Default. Which one? Default. So now we go and create a dev workspace. Terraform workspace new dev. Now we are in which namespace now? I created here, right? So we are in the automatically will get switch. So here new dev space, and inside this provider is fine, and then I'll create a local block. See this? In the local box instance type, I'll mention, say that here dev is equal to T2 micro, test is T2 small, prod is T2 medium. Now what I'm doing, I'm creating a resource. See here, when I'm creating a resource, workspace example, AMI is fine. Instance type is equal to, instance type I need to call from the local block or not? How do I call? Instance type is equal to local dot instance type. And then how do I mention? I don't want to mention dev here. Based on the workspace the people are using, automatically it should go and launch that particular EC2 instance. So if I call here terraform.workspace, what it will print? Dev. If I use terraform.workspace, what it will print? Dev. So when local.instance type dev, meaning here it will go to this key, and it will go and launch which one? T2 micro. Now later you created a test workspace. Which one here? Text workspace. When you create a test workspace, then automatically which EC2 instance, which type will be used? T2 small. If it is prod, understood? So I know need to mention based on the workspace. Guys, configuration files, that means Terraform files should be the same. Configuration files will be the same. Configuration files will be the same. But based on your workspace, automatically it will pick it up. Should we go and do this? Okay. Now you got an idea of the code. Now let's go and write the code of that. Okay. So I just installed Terraform. Okay. So I'm already in the Terraform. Okay, that's fine. Okay, now. So what is the command to list the workspace? Terraform workspace list. Which one it is showing? Default. So what is the command to create a new workspace? Terraform workspace new. Which workspace I'm creating here? There. So what it says, created and switched to workspace automatically. But if you want to switch to another workspace, which one you should use? Select command. Which one? Terraform workspace select. Which one? For example, default. So now in which workspace I'm in now? Dev workspace. Which workspace? Dev. So let's go and write the code. So do you remember the code? So let's go and write the providers. After that, we'll create a local block with the instance types, and then we'll create a EC2 instance resource. Okay. Let's do vi main.tf. Go ahead now. Provider. Now you guys have habituated with the code while writing, huh? Terraform. Now you got confidence. Good. Okay. Region is equal to AP minus south minus 1. Okay. Next, how to write a local box? Locals. Okay. Inside this, what I need to write? Instance underscore types is equal to, as I have multiple, then I'll go for parenthesis. So dev is equal to which one? T2 micro. Next, test is equal to, and then prod is equal to T2 idea. So that's a local block. After that, we need to write a EC2 resource for EC2 instance. Okay. Resource AWS underscore instance. What's the instance? My instance you can write, or else you can say workspace example. You don't need to go for all the time same name. It's up to you. Okay. Now AMI is equal to, remind me. Okay. Next here, instance type. How do you get my instance type here? Instance type is how to call the local? Local dot. What's the block name? Instance underscore types. And here, how do I select the dev? Terraform dot, which one? Terraform dot what? Workspace. So if I use Terraform dot workspace, so what will be the value of instance type? What is the workspace that we are using at the moment? Dev. So whenever I use Terraform dot workspace, so it will take what? Dev, right? And then it will pass to this, and the instance type will be selected as what? Dev, automatically. Next, tags. Okay. Tags will be also in the blocks here. Tag block. Name is equal to. Okay. Now you tell me, I want the name as dev server. How do I write? I'm in string, double quotes. Dollar in brackets. How should I get dev here? Terraform dot workspace hyphen server. You getting it? So Naveen here, I'm just using this inbuilt functionality Terraform dot workspace. Of course, you can get the local dot instance type. We can get this is a key, right? First value, we can go for it. First key, right? Otherwise, you can go with here Terraform dot workspace. Online, this is clear? Okay. Now, I need the outputs. I need to print active workspace. I need to print the workspace name. How do I write? Output. Active. What is our active workspace? Dev. So how do I print here? Value is equal to, how do I print dev? Simply. This is not in brackets. Terraform dot, that's it, Terraform dot workspace. Now, I want to print here which instance type it got selected. So output, I call it as selected instance type. So which instance type it got selected? Which instance type it got selected? T2 micro, dev. What is the key? Dev. So now value is equal to how to get printed this. I want to print instance type here, T2 micro. So how do I do it? Local dot, how do I call local dot? Instance underscore types here, Terraform dot, which one? Workspace. See that code little bit. Yes. AMI also. See the code now. You all understood the code? If you have a question, please ask me. Clear, huh? Understood? Online, this is clear, CC? Clear, Baba? Very nice. Okay. So, what is the output that we get here? It will print what? Active workspace, and it will print selected instance type. So these two we need, right? So if I do here Terraform, what is that here? Validate. First, what I need to do? Terraform init. So that is how you play with it. So what we do is, once we plan it, right? Yeah. So Terraform, we do what here? Plan. If I apply, it will take a long time, right? So you can do it, but I'll do the plan. I'll show you what it will get. Do you see what's the active workspace it's got? And what's the selected instance type? T2 micro. Because what? Because the workspace that we are using is what? Dev. Similarly, can we create a prod workspace, and we can select it, and then in that case it will give what? Let's do same configuration file. We don't change it. So can you tell me how to create a prod workspace? Terraform workspace, new, and then prod. Switch to prod. If I want to list it, Terraform workspace list. Now it is in which one here? Prod. So now if I do Terraform plan, what it will show? Prod. So active workspace is prod, and then the instance type is T2 medium. Yes or no? Let's see. Did we change any configuration file? No. So it is automatically taking it or not? Do you see this here? Prod and then T2 medium. And then if you do here ls, do you see a new directory got created? What is that? Terraform.tfstate.d. This is very important certification question. Interview question. So because it needs to create a separate state files or not. So for dev, it needs to have a separate state file, and for prod also we need to have a separate state file. So if you want to maintain the multiple environments, now when you run this Terraform plan, dev server will also get created when you switch to prod, and if you run the Terraform apply, then what will happen? prod server will also get created or launched. So can you maintain the multiple environments using the workspace or not? So if I go inside it here, Terraform TF state D, and we have what? Dev and prod. If you go to dev, there is no state file. Why? Why? Huh? Why? Acha, we are in prod. That's why. Okay, I'll go back to prod then. Why there is no state file? Why there is no state file? Guys, we didn't apply, no? We didn't apply, right? So I did only the plan. So apply, if you apply it, then obviously different state files will get created over here. Okay. Clear enough? So remember, whenever you are in the particular names workspace, can you delete it? Can you delete the workspace if you have the infrastructure inside it? No. So first you need to destroy the infrastructure and then delete the workspace. So what's the command to delete it? Terraform workspace, delete, and then workspace name. Clear? You want me to show apply and show? Not required, right? It's just a matter of Terraform apply, auto approve, you do it, and then you will create a state files will be created. Now let's switch to our normal default. What's the command? Terraform workspace, select which one? Okay. Online, is this clear, please? Okay. So to make you much better on this workspace, so what we do is, I'll tell you the requirement and can you write the configuration file, that means Terraform file. So my requirement is provider will be there. And then I want to create a local block with the environment is equal to a variable environment is equal to, I want your workspace automatically to come there. So how to print the workspace? Terraform dot loader, Terraform dot workspace. So then I want you to create a VPC, right? And in white VPC yesterday we created, right? So we write a CIDR block and then we'll put a tag and the name should be our workspace VPC. What is our workspace here? Dev. Let's switch to dev if required, or prod. And we need to call that prod there. How do we call? As it is in the double quotes, we need to use what? Dollar in brackets, local dot. What is the variable that we used? env or whatever it is. Okay. Now I want you to create a subnet also. While creating a subnet, we need to call the VPC ID. How to call the VPC ID? Resource type dot label dot. Okay, while writing, you'll tell me, right? And the CIDR block we need to provide availability zone. Yesterday we created VPC. Did you completed the practicals on it? VPC practicals. Okay, and then we launch the EC2 instance. I want the name as dev server. Can you tell me the code for this? Ready? Let's do. Let's switch it. Select which one here. You want dev? Okay, let's go to dev. Okay. So I'll remove what is here? Main.tf. Okay, so let's go and do it. Tell me, Nana. Provider. And by the way, should I tell you one thing? In real time, do you think that you'll be writing like this? Huh? So already templates will be available, readily available. There is nothing new in the Terraforms, right? Templates are really available in the ChatGPT, or in your company, you have your GitHub repositories will be there where already existing infrastructure will be created, right? So if it is already created, you just need to maintain it or reuse it. Or else if they ask you to create a new one, yes or no? What do you do? Just go to ChatGPT and type. I'm just giving an example. Huh? Because why I'm writing each and everything here, because you need to understand, right? So you cannot be copy paste like now at the moment. So here, stay logged out. Let's do one thing. Launch EC2 with what? Terraform. Let's try to understand whether you understand the code or not. Okay. Huh? Do you understand the provider block? Resource, label, AMI, instance type, tag is equal to name is equal. How many times we wrote this code? Done. Terraform, plan, Terraform first, init, Terraform, planner, Terraform, apply, and then destroy. Okay, tell me one more thing, I'll ask. S3 bucket, huh? Create S3 bucket with Terraform. AWS underscore S3 underscore bucket. Bucket is equal to this. Force destroy. Force destroy meaning deletes bucket even if it is not empty. That meaning in CLI we use -f, right? Right? And then tags this. These two tags they are giving it. So create VPC with one subnet. Okay? One EC2 with what workspace concept. I'm just writing whether it gives. Acha, guys, do you see? Oh, this is what we are trying to write now. This is what we are trying to write now. See here, this is AWS block, and what is this here? I told you locals environment is equal to Terraform dot workspace, and then we are creating a VPC and cider block. And how do I call? $local dot env. So that meaning local dot env meaning I'll get here Terra workspace. David is Dave, prod is prod, and subnet. So for subnet, what we need to get? VPC ID. How do I call VPC here? AWS underscore VPC dot main dot. How to get the ID? Dot ID. Hey, yesterday we did this, right? That is important. I told you yesterday, this is very important line. So if you want to call any resource from another block, so and their properties dot ID. So what is the CIDR block and availability zone? Public IP, you want true, because whenever you're launching the EC2 instance, automatically public IP will be there. And tags, if you want internet gateway, create an internet gateway, and then the internet gateway should be inside the VPC or not, attached to the VPC, and we need to call the VPC. Create a route tables. We will see all these things later. But you all understood, guys, here? So if you just put it here, you will get the code. And what do you need to do? Just take it and then modify accordingly. But you need to understand the code, no? So what is Terraform? What is this local? What is this dollar? That is what I am teaching you. All the concept individually one by one. So that whenever you see a big code, easily you can understand. Let's say today, if time permits, I'll show you the code of setting up the entire VPC, including all your, there will be a project that you should be doing it. Which project you know? This project. What is this? And what is this on top? I mean, target group. Yes or no? And inside that, I use a user data. What is that here? User data. With user data, we'll deploy it. And this is our load balancer. We'll do this to Terraform. This you need to do it. There is a code already available. I'll explain the code and you should do that. Okay. So while showing the code, you should understand the code, no? What is that? What every component, what it is calling, where it is calling, why they are writing all these things. That is what we are learning in Terraform. Do not try to remember the code. But I'm making you to remember the code now because all the concepts you will understand. I'm not writing big code, right? Hardly I'm writing 50 lines of code, right? Okay. So let's go and do it. So you understand what I'm asking here? Let's go and set up a local block. Environment is equal to workspace, and then we'll launch one EC2 instance. I mean, we create a VPC, we create a subnet, and then we launch EC2 instance. Let's go and write the code. Tell me the block, locals block. Locals. What's the variable? env is equal to, here I need to write what? Terraform dot workspace. So what is the value of Terraform? Okay, what's the value of Terraform? What is the value of env now? Dev. Which one? Dev. Okay. Next. So write a resource block for VPC. Resource AWS underscore VPC. So I'm writing here 1. Can I write anything? Main VPC, 1 VPC, my VPC, anything you can write it. Label can be anything. So you need to use this label to call in another resource block. Remember, if I want to call VPC, how do I call it? 1.id. AWS underscore VPC dot 1.id. You should write it. Okay. So what I need for creating VPC? First, we need to write a cider underscore what? Block. So, sir, how do I remember this argument? You need to get it from the documentation. Okay. Next. So what's the cider? 192.168.0.0/16. And we need to give the name. Name meaning here what I need to write? Tags. Tags is equal to, all the time it should be in the block because it is a key value. So name is equal to. Now I want to name this VPC as Dev VPC. So how do I write it? How do I call Dev here? Dollar. Okay, flower brackets inside this. Local dot env. Local dot what? Env. Hyphen VPC. This one. Okay now. So this is our, so next we'll create what here? Subnet. So how to create a subnet? Let's resource block. Resource. Okay, tell me. AWS underscore subnet. I call it as, this one is 2 or subnet 1, subnet 2, public subnet, private subnet, your wish. Okay. Here. So here when you're writing the subnet, it should be attached to the VPC. I mean, VPC need to be selected. So what's the VPC ID? And how do I call the VPC here? AWS underscore VPC dot 1.id. And what's the cider block? Cider underscore block is equal to 192.168.1.0/24. And this subnet should be in the availability zone. Availability underscore zone is equal to which availability zone? AP minus. Guys, instead of writing all the values here, can I write it in the variables.tf and then call var dot subnet 1, what dot cider, what dot something? You can write that also. Next, here, while writing the sub, and then we need to put the tags. What's the name of the subnet? What's the name of the subnet? So I need as a dev subnet. How do I write? I need dev dollar local dot env hyphen, what's that? Subnet. Guys, clear? Okay. Next, go and write our create EC2 instance. What is that? Resource AWS underscore instance. Here, call it as 3. How many blocks I'm writing here? 3 blocks. That's why I'm putting like that. Okay. Now, while launching the EC2 instance, we need to select the subnet. Doubt? Which one? Very good. It should be 1A. So I wrote the region name, right? Region. So it should be 1A. Okay. Next. So this EC2 instance should be inside the subnet. So what's the subnet underscore ID? Now can you tell me how do I call a subnet? AWS underscore subnet dot 2 dot ID. So AMI, so we need to write what? AMI while launching the EC2 instance, and then instance underscore type is equal to which one here? T2 micro, and then here tags. Now here I want like this. Name is equal to, I need a dev server. What do I write here? Dollar parenthesis local dot env hyphen, what's that here? Server. Whatever the chat GPT has given, you have wrote everything here or not? Yes or no? Now you feel that you are a developer, but you are able to do it, no? So my student, you should not less than a developer, okay? You should be equal to the developers, especially in Terraform. Okay, so now we are done with it. So if I do just plan, what should I do? So, I mean, if you do plan, what do you get? One VPC will get created, one subnet will be created, and the EC2 instance will be launched. So I'm not applying it, but I'm just doing Terraform. So next time I need to put directly, huh? These AMIs, whatever that I have putting in your Google Classroom, I have given the separate AMI. AMIs will keep on changing in AWS, remember. So today this is the ID for Amazon Linux 2. Later, after a few months, it will change it. Okay, that's why sometimes it will not work for you. So Terraform what? Plan. If I do Terraform plan, so VPC will get created, subnet will get created, and the EC2 instance will be launched inside the VPC and inside the subnet. So here, do you see what is the name? Dev VPC, right? What is the subnet? Dev subnet, right? And what is the server? Dev server. Got it now? So it is automatically taking the workspace or not? Online is clear? Now I switch to default. If I switch to default, if I do plan, what will happen now? What VPC I'll get? Now I'm in default. What VPC I'll get? Default VPC, default server, default subnet I'll get. So if you switch to prod VPC, prod server, prod subnet. So configuration file will be the same. You don't need to write separate configuration files. But if you use the workspace concept, based on the workspace, your entire infrastructure, wherever that you want to have prod dev test, you just use the terraform.workspace and then call that files or call that variable, and everywhere you will get that values. Okay. Good. So that is on locals and the workspace concept. So previously we used locals, right? And then I introduced that, I integrated that locals into the workspace. Okay. So now let's go to another topic called dynamic local variable. What's that? Dynamic local variable. So it is better to show you the code first and then write it. So I think you are able to understand it much better. Okay. So what concept is it? It's another variable concept. I'm giving you multiple examples for the same concept, right? So dynamic local variables. So Terraform workspace list, keep it in the default. Now, do you see this here? A resource you are creating and the value is this, label is this, AMI is this. Can you tell me what this is doing, this line? This will launch one EC2 instance, right? This will launch one EC2 instance. Now you tell me which type it will launch. Carefully. Okay, don't read here and there, okay? Just concentrate only on the code. Kiran, that is okay. But which instance type? Now in which workspace I am in now? Default workspace. Based on that, tell me. If I run this code, EC2, which instance type will be launched? This is a logical thinking. What's the meaning of? Tell me the thing. Okay. Offline. T2. Why? Yes. So which is our here it is clearly saying Terraform dot workspace. So it will print what? Default. Is default is equal to prod? If it is yes, then it will go for M4. If it is not yes, then go for T2 small. So you are dynamically, this is a variable, right? Instance underscore type is an argument, of course, a variable. So and dynamically you're providing the value for this or not. That is why this call it as dynamic local variable. Clear? So explanation I have given here. So if required, can you write the outputs also for this? Okay, I want you to print here active workspace. I want you to print the instance type. Should I write the code and show you? Huh? Let's do. rm minus rf main dot tf. vi main dot tf. Okay, tell me. Provider. So now let's write a resource block for EC2 instance. AWS underscore instance. So I call it as what? Dynamic local var. Okay, instance. Something like this. Okay, so AMI is equal to, and then here, guys, instance underscore type is equal to, generally I can write the pass the variable, I mean value here, T2 micro something, but I'm not passing like this. So I'm using here Terraform dot workspace. If I use Terraform dot workspace, that means automatically I get what? Dev. But dev is equal to instance type is good. Instance type should be dev. Instance type, I mean default, right? Sorry, it's a default. I understand when you turn like this, I understand. Okay, so instance type is what here? What is the workspace we are using here? Default. So instance type is equal to default. Is that correct? No, instance type should be either T2 micro, T2 small or something, right? But here Terraform dot workspace meaning we'll get what? Default. Okay, so that is not the value that we need to provide to instance type, but I need to provide it something dynamically here. So for that reason here I use here double equal to. What's that? Double equal to. If it is double equal to what here? Prod. What's that? Prod. If it is double equal to prod, then go and launch M4 large, right? Or else go and lodge what? T2 small. Right? So I took this bigger one here because I know that it will not launch M4 large. So it is what here? Or else what we here? T2 micro. Okay. Online is clear. Then I need what here? Tags. Now tell me how to name is equal to. Now I need I need to print as hyphen workspace. The EC2 instance name hyphen workspace. So EC2 instance name would be what do you call? Dynamic local var instance. Var hyphen example instance. Something. Okay. Now I want to print here my workspace. How do I call the workspace here? I want to print the workspace here. How do I call? I want to print the workspace. Tell me what do I write? Dollar. When I use dollar, then I need to get what? Double quotes. And here, how do I print my workspace? Terraform dot workspace. Why this much big? Dynamic var instance. Okay. So if I launch the EC2 instance, what is my name of the EC2 instance? Dynamic var hyphen instance hyphen default. Okay. Now I want you to print active workspace. Tell me the code for that. Output. I call it as active workspace. Okay. Value is equal to, tell me how to print my workspace here. Terraform dot workspace. Dollar concept only will come when you are writing in a double quotes, right? So if you want to directly print it, Terraform dot workspace. Okay. Now I want you to print selected instance type. So then output, you'll write selected underscore instance underscore type. Value is equal to, tell me how. AWS underscore instance dot. Okay, this dot instance underscore type. Understood now? Online, this is clear? So what is the output that I get now? Active workspace is equal to default and selected instance type is equal to T2 micro. This is what we need to get the output or not? Now understood? Logics. Understood? Online. Okay. So if I do Terraform plan. See, Nana? What is the active workspace? And selected instance type? Now you understand how to write the conditions over there, double equal to, right? And then if the workspace is this, then you will get use this EC2 instance. Remember, like this we'll be doing in the real time also. Because this workspace concept will be commonly used in the real time based because we have a different environments. And if you want to use the same configuration files need to change? No need. Same configurations files, but different workspace. So wherever you want to use dev prod test names, so you can use the based on, you can call terraform.workspace and you can use it. Okay. Online, is it clear till here, everyone? Before I go to the next topic. CC, please. Nice. So let's go and remove main.tf. Okay. So the next important topic here is Terraform backend setup. What is it called? Terraform backend setup. So do you remember we discussed in the day one itself, local state versus remote state? What's the meaning of local state? Whenever we talk about local state, that meaning what is we are talking about? State file. So if you are storing the state file here, right? So we applied it till now. So it will be in the local or not? It will be in the local. But if someone terminate this EC2 instance, my TF state file is gone. If the state file is gone, so will your Terraform will work? No. Terraform will not understand what are the resources it has created. All the resources, whatever it has created, will be in the state file only. But we need to secure the state file or not? So in order to secure the state file, is it good to put in the local state or it is good to put it in the remote? Remote meaning where do we put it? In S3. Where do we put it? In S3. Got it? So now, how do we configure our Terraform files? That meaning configuration files. How do we tell to the Terraform that, hey, state file, please use our S3. Don't put it in the local. So for that, what we need to write the code or not? So for that, let's go with here backend setup. Backend meaning here, it is related to the state file. Okay, ma? So now let's go and write the Terraform code main.tf. So what's that here? Provider AWS region is equal to AB minus south minus 1. So here we need to write the Terraform block. What we need to write? Terraform block. By the way, you no need to write, you can copy paste it, or else just go and ask what? Example I'm showing. Terraform S3 backend setup. Okay, S3 backend configuration or backend setup is also fine. So this is to create. First, we need to create what? S3 bucket. So they are creating using the CLI. So we'll talk about this. Okay, do you see this here? This is the code that we need to use. And there is also option about the Dynamo table. That is the next topic that we have. But let's go for Terraform. What is it here? Backend. What we are putting here? S3. And bucket is equal to this bucket. And key meaning what? So it will create you can create a folder inside it and then state file will be there. In which region it is? Same thing I have given here. Terraform, backend S3, and bucket is Terraform-state file. I am giving my name. And then key is what? Prod state file. And the region is what? Yeah. Guys, understood? See that? Hmm? Of course. So for this, first of all, we need to create the S3 bucket or not? Is it good to create public bucket or private bucket? So create it. So I'm going like this. So private bucket, and always enable the versioning because these are backup files or not. So we created it. So now, so this will create automatically a directory called subfolder called prod. Inside this terraform.tf state will get created. Okay. So now this is the backend setup. Let's go and try to create a couple of resources. So please try to create two EC2 instances. How many? Two EC2 instances. Don't use count argument. I want different EC2 instances. Okay. So for that, we need to write two blocks, right? Resource blocks. Okay. Resource. Go ahead. AWS underscore instance. Yeah. Here I call it as my first instance. Okay. So AMI is equal to, please remind me, and then what? Instance underscore type is equal to which one? T2 micro. Okay. And then what here? Tags is equal to, and then name is equal to cap here. Name is equal to, and I'm calling it as backend hyphen example hyphen one. I want one more EC2 instance similarly like this. And here I call it as what? My second instance, T2 micro, and backend example 2, I'll say. Let's take AMI. Okay. Now, how many EC2 instances is getting created? 2 EC2 instances. Now, I want you to tell how to output instance IDs and how to output instance names. Tell me. Guys, this concept is about backend. Backend concept is done. On the top, we have written. If you execute automatically, state file will get created. Backend concept is, but I'm just showing you some extra things here in the bottom. Now I want you to write the output. So output should list the instance IDs. Tell me how to do that. Output. What I need to write here? Instance underscore IDs. How many EC2 instances are there? 2. So how to do that? Value is equal to, how many are there? 1 or 2? If it is 2, go with the brackets, square brackets. And then here, how do I call first instance? AWS underscore instance dot my first instance dot. Very good. Comma. Another one. AWS underscore instance dot my second instance dot. Good. Now I want the output to output the names. Names. I'll not tell anything. You should be writing it. Okay. So output instance underscore names. Here value is equal to, tell me. AWS underscore instance dot my first instance dot name is correct. Before that, you should say, you should do something. Name is under which block? Then I need to write that block name, right? Tags dot. Otherwise, you cannot directly call the name. No, name is always in the tag block. So that is the concept of blocks, right? Whenever you need to call a variable inside it, use the block. Okay. So, and then comma AWS underscore instance dot my second instance dot tags dot name. Very good, guys. Very good. Now it's clear. Okay. Terraform validate. Okay. So if I do Terraform plan, What's the error? Backend initialization required. Please use Terraform init. Why? Because we have modified our configuration file to keep the state file in the remote. So as we have put the remote configuration, for that reason here, we need to use what? Terraform init. So now if I do it, it will go and initialize that into the backend S3. Do you see? Successfully configure the backend S3. Terraform will automatically use the backend unless the backend configuration changes. So until we change it, so Terraform will use the backend. If I go to S3, so inside this, okay, we didn't create a state, we need to apply, right? So what we just created, we just initiated it. Now let's do Terraform plan. Okay, so now instance IDs will be shown and then instance names are also showing. If I do Terraform apply, then what? Let's do Terraform apply. Apply -- auto - approve. How many EC2 instances will be launched? 2 EC2 instances will be launched. Backend example 1, backend example 2, and our state file will be created in S3 bucket. Now instances are getting created. Okay, let me ask you one question, whether you remember this or not. So how many EC2 instances got created here? 2. I want to delete only, I want to destroy only one EC2 instance. Taint will recreate it again. My question is to destroy completely. If I use Terraform destroy, it will delete 2 EC2 instances or not, but I want to delete only one. First day concept we used. Anyone? Okay, see, what's the command to list the state list? How many resources are there here? 2 resources will come here. I want to delete only one resource. We learned this on the first day. Target. Remember, single target, multiple targets. So if you use here targets, for example, what is that? Terraform, destroy, -- auto - approve - target is equal to which one? This whole. If you do like this, what will happen? This will destroy only one resource. You should remember, Nana, practice it. Yeah. So if I refresh it, do you see? Prod, and here we have our state file. Online, is this clear? Okay. So ideally in the real time, we definitely put our state file in S3 only. We don't put the state file in the local. So, but till now, initially what I use the state file in the local. Now I'm showing how to use it in the remote. So now, no sir, I don't want it in the remote. I want it back again. I want it back again. So what do you need to do? So go to the main.tf and remove the backend code. Remove this backend code. If I remove this backend code, now again what I need to do? Okay. So if I do Terraform plan, for example, what it says, backend initialization required. And then what I need to do here, Terraform init. If I do Terraform init, again, it is giving some error. See this error and tell me what I need to do. Huh? What I need to do now? Terraform, init, migrate state. This is the command that you should use it. So if you wish to attempt automatic migration of the state, use this one. So see, backend configuration changed. A change in the backend configuration has been detected, which may require migrating existing state. So the thing is here, if you want to migrate the existing state to the local, then what you need to use? If you wish to attempt automatic migration of the state, use Terraform init migrate state. If you wish to store the current configuration with no changes to the state, use Terraform reconfigure. So which one? We need the same state or you don't want any changes? We want the whatever that you have in the AWS. I mean, how many EC2 instances are there? 2 EC2. How many? Backend example 1, backend example 2. 2 EC2 instances are there. Same state you want to get it in local or you don't want anything? Same thing, right? And then you need to use Terraform init migrate. So say that Terraform init hyphen migrate hyphen state. Okay. See, read it. Terraform has detected your unconfigured your previous set S3 backend. Okay. Do you want to copy existing state to the new backend? Existing state meaning how many EC2 instances are there? 2. You want to get the same state in the local? You want yes? If you yes, what will happen? The same state file will come in the local, having 2 EC2 instances inside it. If you say no, that will get left over there, and here fresh state file will come here. Which one you need? Huh? You want machines also to get it? So in that case, what you need to show? You need to say yes. Okay. So now we have the state file here. Cat terraform.txt. Do you have the information here? So if you selected no, then what will happen? The 2 EC2 instances will left over there. Terraform will not understand what are those 2 EC2 instances. This terraform.tf state file will be empty. Based on a requirement, you need to choose it. Now you all understand how to set up backend and how to get it back here. Online, is this clear, please? So if I do here Terraform state list, my 2 EC2 instances will come here or not? Because we copied the existing things here. As we said yes, we are getting the resources here. As we say, if we said no, then the 2 EC2 instances we need to terminate it manually. Online, clear, please? Online, clear, please? Okay. Offline, clear now, everyone? Clear? So now, in our state file, how many resources are there? 2. What's the command to check the resources in the state file? Terraform state list. So now if I do Terraform state list, so we'll get the 2 resources. But here, these 2 resources are tracked by Terraform or not. But what I need to is, I don't want one resource or I don't want a resource to be tracked using Terraform. I want to untrack it. What's that? I have 2 EC2. Guys, here I'm having 2 resources, but can I have a number of resources in real time? Assume that we have so many resources, but I don't want one resource to be tracked by Terraform. Assume that we have 2 resources here. I don't want my first instance should not get tracked. Should not get tracked meaning Terraform will not understand that my instance 1. So how to untrack it from Terraform? So here we have a concept called Terraform, say with me, state remove. Which one? You need to just, guys, see, normally entire resource information will be there inside the state file or not. If you remove any resource from the state file, does the Terraform will understand that resource? That's what we are doing it. We are untracking it. What we are doing? So how to untrack? Terraform state remove, RM Which one? Whichever the resource that you want to untrack it. What is the command? Say that. Terraform state remove AWS underscore instance dot first. If you want to remove, go with the second one, of course, your wish. You can go with the, whichever that you want to do, you can do it. So which one I'm removing for now? Second one. So you can remove the second one. Do you see what is the output that you get? Successfully removed one resource instances. That meaning now my second EC2 instance, this EC2 instance will understand by the Terraform. The second one, no, I can do anything. It is not tracked by the Terraform. Remember. So this one will not tracked by the Terraform from now onwards. So if you want to remove the first one also, tell me. My here, what did you put? First. This is also removed or not? So do I have anything in my state file now? So if I do Terraform state list, do I have anything here? Let's see. So if I do cat terraform.tf state, right? So it checks is here, what is here? Null. So we have removed it here. So now these two EC2 instances are managed by Terraform. Answer is no. So do you all understand how to untrack it? So how to untrack it? So because guys, in real time, what happens is there might be a requirement that you need to untrack particular resources from the Terraform. Okay, now you untrack it. Now how to get it back? Okay, now if I do Terraform destroy, will it destroy? Tell me. My EC2 instance are, okay, instead of destroy, can we do plan also, right? Yeah, let's do. So do you see this here? Destroy completed. How many got destroyed here? So if I do this, refresh, I still have my machines or not? Because Terraform is not tracking those machines or resources. So how to get it back? Terraform import. Very, very important. What is that? Terraform import. Let's say in real time, you are maintaining your entire infrastructure using Terraform. You're maintaining your entire infrastructure using what? Terraform. Now, some juniors or some people have launched the EC2 instance or created S3 bucket or created resources manually. And now that manually created resources also, you want to track it. There will be a requirement or not? Assume your entire company is using your entire infrastructure using Terraform only. But sometimes some people might have created the resources manually. So what you need to do? That manual resource also need to track it here or not? So just now we have untracked it. How to track it back? Terraform. What's that? Import. What's that? Terraform import. So what is that one we are using here? AWS. What is that? AWS underscore instance dot my first instance. And then we need to put the instance ID because it should understand, right? We need to put the instance ID. Guys, do you understand? Now it got imported. So we need to import the same thing for. So whichever, but unfortunately, so what is the command to import the manual resources here? Oops, not that. So Terraform import, very, very important command because in real time, so in companies, people might have launched EC2 instance, created the resources manually, and your manager will ask, hey, whatever the resources are there, which is created manually, please try to track it by the Terraform. Then you need to use what? Terraform import command. So we are importing one by one or not? So the disadvantage in the Terraform at the moment here is you need to import the resources one by one. right? If you want to import, let's say for example, you joined a company, you joined a company, and then entire infrastructure is readily available. They are not using Terraform. Now your job is, so please maintain the entire existing infrastructure using Terraform. Then what will you do? What is the command that you should use? Terraform import command, but there are 100 EC2 instances, 100 EC2, S3 buckets, so many VPCs. What will you do? Will you do it one by one? There is no command in Terraform to take everything in one shot. For that, you need to use another tool called Terraformer. Say that. So Terraformer is another tool which in just one command, if you just put the service name and whatever is there in that service, everything will get imported. But in Terraform, there is no option to import everything in one shot. Otherwise, you need to write one some script and then import everything. But you need to use external tool called Terraformer. Say that, Terraformer. It's another tool you need to install, Naveen. Terraformer. Guys, is this clear, everyone? Okay. So there is one project. So we still have, I'll stop it here. So in my GitHub, there is a repository called Terraform. Please try to fork it. Terraform. See, guys, see here. And there is a project called VPC EC2. Ignore these two things. We'll talk later. VPC EC2. So inside this, we have what? Main.tf. You know what is provider.tf. And we have user data. For one EC2 instance, one user data, another EC2 instance, another user data. And what we have here? Variables.tf. In variables.tf, what did I mention? Only CIDR. So in main.tf, what I'm creating a VPC and I'm calling a var.CIDR. And I'm creating a subnet. And I'm creating one more subnet. Subnet 1, subnet 2. And I'm creating internet gateway. I'm creating route tables. And while creating a route table, we need to do the associations or not. So go through this once, and if you want to try it out. If not, I'll explain this tomorrow. There's nothing to explain. See, okay, just 2 minutes here. I want you to do this project. Okay, see here, what are we creating? First, this resource block, creating a VPC. What is this block? Creating a subnet. What is this block? Creating another subnet, subnet 2. And then we are creating what here? Internet gateway. Internet gateway should be attached to the VPC or not. And then what we are creating a routing table. All traffic is routed to which one? Internet gateway. That meaning which routing table is this? Public routing table. So how to call internet gateway? AWS underscore internet underscore gateway dot IGW dot ID. And then association. So this routing table should, so I'm creating a routing table 1. So we need to associate to the routing table or not, which we have created, rt.id. So same thing, another routing table we have created. And then I'm creating what here now? Security group. Ingress meaning inbound rules. Egress meaning outbound rules. So how many inbound rules I'm using here? 2 inbound rules. And what is the protocols that I'm allowing here? Port number 80. And this one, SSH. And then I'm creating one S3 bucket. And I'm creating one EC2 instance called web server 1. AMIID T2 micro. And then I'm passing the user data called, which is the file I'm passing? User data.sh. So this guy. And I'm launching one more EC2 instance. I'm passing user data 1.sh. After that, I'm creating what? Creating a, what is that? Load balancer. What's the name of the load balancer? MyALB. Load balancer type is what? Application load balancer. Sorry. What's the type of the load balancer here? application. And application load balancer should have a security group or not. We created a security group called websg.id, and load balancer should be inside the subnets or not. So subnet1.id, subnet2.id. And then I need to create a target group. And I need to create a attachment or not. Target group need to attach to the load balancer. And then listeners should be there. And the output is your load balancer. So if you do this, you can set up this guy or not. Will you try it? Try to understand. But what I need is, I want you to write the code. This one, you try to write the code. Rest all, you can you copy paste it. But this project, I want you to write the code because you'll understand how to set it up. Okay? And how to get this in our EC2 instance. You need to install the Git and then clone it. And then what? Or else don't clone it. Otherwise, write down one by one. Main.tf. And then if you want to copy paste the user data here. Create the file and then copy paste it. Clear enough? Will you able to do this? And you want that URL, right? So is go ahead and then. Okay, is it clear, guys? Okay, understood. So I'm going very slow on Terraform. Today, what we have done? We did on the workspaces and then dynamic local variables, and we have called everything, and then backend setup also we did, right? And then we created VPCs, right? Please try to do all these practicals and complete that project. That is very important. Okay. Okay. Online, can you give the final CC for today, please? So that is all. Let's connect tomorrow with the next continuation. Until then, take care. Have a nice day, guys. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.